No matter the industry or business, change can be a stressful thing, especially for employees. However, when it's well planned and incorporates company culture, change can revitalize a business and help them reach greater success. This scenario is also true for salons and spas, especially when it comes to implementing new technology and software solutions. That's why change management is so crucial to salon and spa success. But what is change management, and how can industry leaders use this strategy to help their businesses and employees? Well, we're about to find out the answers to those questions and more on today's episode of Coffee Talk with a very special guest, Trent Lange. He's the owner of Ecco Salon, which is an award-winning Aveda salon with 3 locations located in Wisconsin, and he's a member of the Meevo 2 community.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.
So, Trent, thank you so much for joining Coffee Talk today. I wanted to go ahead and ask you, how are you and the salon doing in this super busy season?
That's a great question. Actually, this year is doing really, really well. Despite the pandemic, we've been fully closed through the holiday season now for about 3 weeks. So it's a great year. It's a great, start into next year, and we're looking forward to continuing to move forward through this.
Awesome. So before we get started with today's Coffee Talk, guys, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you'd like to see more Coffee Talks like this in the future. So Trent, are you ready to kickstart this Coffee Talk?
Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. So with change management, why would you say it is so crucial for salons and spas that are going to be implementing new technology?
I think it's really important because as you look forward and you're making your initiatives for the new year, you have to take into account how will your team react and how will you implement things such as new technology easily without bringing burden into your team. I think we all know that technology in particular is sometimes hard to adopt, especially when you're looking at it's the way we've always done it. And I think when we look at technology, we're looking to replace the that's the way we've always done it type of things. And those are sometimes the hardest to actually get adoption for. So when you look at change management, you're looking at how do I replace that difficult path for my team and make it as easy as possible to bring in new technologies, to bring in new processes or whatever you're doing to make things easier for your business and your team.
So with that being said, for salon and spa leaders, then, how can they set the expectation to make sure that they can help their staff feel more comfortable with those changes?
That's a great question. I'm not sure if any of your viewers have ever heard of John Cotter, but he's a change management expert. And I think there's an 8-step process that he goes through. Obviously, the change that you're going through is going to dictate how much of these steps you take or implement. But it's really important that as you go through change, you look at how it's going to affect your team. So if you have an issue that you're trying to resolve, how do you create urgency? How do you build a team that's going to stand behind you? And how do you remove the barriers to them being able to use that change or be able to accept that change? And I think that's really important because if we talk about being comfortable, it's make your team making sure that you know what's going to make them successful in the end of the day. And I think knowing and going through and creating this very unique process and going through the steps I just talked about are the things that let your team know that you understand what their daily job is, how to make it better, and what their pain points are going to be along the way.
I like that. It sounds like a lot of businesses are going to have to do a huge evaluation process from what it sounds like.
It could be. It depends obviously on the change. If you're putting in a new POS system, there's probably a lot more planning that's going to go into it. But if you're doing something a little smaller, it might be a little bit less of the process. But everything that you go through in some sort of change has to have a benefit for both the business and your team. And that has to be explained and really gone over so that the team knows what's coming and what's in it for them in the end of the day.
I like that. I always feel like I like that statement that you made where you said, like, what's in it for them, because if they can see that kind of like pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, I like to say, then they feel a little bit more involved. So I like that. And I also like those 8 different points that you mentioned. So with that being said, and implementing all of these changes, then what role does data then play when implementing new technology and strategies in salons?
Data plays a very large role. I'll take our example with Vish. So we recently implemented Vish, and Vish has a partnership with Meevo too, with the data integration. And why data is important is if I look at the integration between Vish and Meevo 2, it opens up the ability for me to do a number of things that I was unable to do before. So, for example, with the integration between Vish and Meevo 2, I now know exactly what our team is doing, how they're using their color, and what costs are coming out of that. And what that means for me is that I know exactly what to charge our clients or our guests at the end of their service. And that's very important because that means that no service is missed at the end of the day. The other piece is when we talk about data, if you look at a salon in the salon industry, sometimes we're a little bit behind the 8 ball with technology advancements. And what I mean by that is Vish allows you to know exactly how much color you're using per guest that you're seeing. And that's really important. Manufacturing's done this for hundreds of years. They would never go into a situation and not know how much metal goes into a product. Unfortunately, we've used other scales in the past, but we've never had the ability to modify that measurement to exactly fit the guests that you're seeing in that day. So I think that's really important because that means your inventory management of your product in your POS or your POS system, such as Meevo or whatever you're using, is much more accurate. The amount that you're spending on your, weekly, biweekly, or monthly ordering is that much more accurate. And I think that's really important when you talk about even 5 to 10 to 15% reduction in that cost. When that's a very large cost in your business, that's a huge savings over a year, over 2 years, even over a month. So I think that's where the data becomes really important in this type of change management, is to be able to implement your change, know that you're getting a return on your investment, and being able to fully capture the ability that software or that technology offers you and your team.
So I know you gave us a really good example, of Vish, but what are some other really great examples of how you and your salon are successfully managing changes with new technology?
As we all know, when we talk about this is the way we've always done it, a scale is a great example of this is the way we've always done it. And looking at replacing that type of technology in the salon comes with fear of accountability. It comes with fear of something new. It comes with fear of making a mistake. And it comes with fear of everybody knows what I'm doing at this point in time. So if we're looking at scale of change that we were talking about earlier, Vish or any scale technology is a great example of a change scale that I believe is a little bit larger than some of the other ones. So when we looked at Vish in particular, we decided we're a 3-location salon. We decided not to implement Vish in all of our locations and do more of a soft rollout across 2 of our locations, and then roll it out to our larger, more established locations. So for us, our first step was to find 2 or 3 champions that we knew would stand behind this technology and talk about the benefits of what it means for them, what it means for the salon, and what the future benefit is for both of us together. And when we talked about future champions, the key with that is somebody that is not going to go in the back room and let everybody know this is terrible technology, because every time you roll something out, there's going to be a problem. So you need somebody that you can trust that they're going to work through problems with you and not poison the well for the rest of the team as you roll this out. So it's key that you find good champions. Our second step was taking those champions then when we felt comfortable that they had it figured out and pairing them up with somebody that was a little less technology savvy. And then they became a team. So we did a team pairing of our people that were ahead of the curve with people that were behind the curve. And then they worked through it themselves. And then the third step was incentivize so that we could have a month worth of habit building before we completely took our old scales out. And that has worked very, very well. We're fully live in 2 of our locations, and our third location is starting to come up now.
So Trent, with that being said, I have to say that this was a very successful and informative coffee talk. And I want to go ahead and say, I know for a fact that our viewers either definitely got something from this or absolutely loved it. So at this time of year, it is clear that change management is a super important topic for salons and spas as they plan their strategies for the new year's. So I want to thank you so much, Trent, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
As always, guys, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed today's episode, and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on a future coffee talk or the latest updates at MSI. We'll see you guys next time on Coffee Talk. Bye, guys.